Instagrammers, how are you? This is a quick live. We're going to talk about the hottest form filing tips for filing your immigration application. I'm so happy to be here. I'm on, as usual, both Facebook and Instagram. So I have my Instagram here from Poma. How are you? Amuzu 593 Kwesi Jomo, Mandy O Candy, Ohima Benewa, Kosi Jewa Pia, Dorka Bakope, Lady Bay 6, Glam Softy, Amuzu. Okay, that's a Red Galaxy. CDRS. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. We're going to be doing a quick, a quick live video. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We're back grinding like we never left. So, okay. So if you're here in the US or even, well, you can be out of the US, but we're going to be focusing on how to file your US immigration application if you're here in the United States. As Hamlet, was it Polonius who said in Shakespeare's book to Hamlet, there's even a method to madness, right? So, it just simply means that even when somebody's doing something that looks senseless, there's probably a meaning to why they're doing it. But that has been extended to kind of cover situations where we say that there's a system and a method to doing everything. So there's even a method to madness. So, guys, when you're filing your US immigration application, don't just throw a bunch of papers together and file it thinking that, oh, my marriage is real, or oh, I deserve to get this immigration benefit. You have to, there's a system to doing it, there's a method to make sure that your case receives the most favorable adjudication in the eyes of the adjudicator, right? Again, I keep telling you, nobody wants people that causes them headache and stress. And so if your application is just so difficult to look through, like they're not sure where everything is just mixed up, it's not a good sign. And from the get-go, you've annoyed the adjudicator. And so you can't be penalized for the most the most minor offense or infraction or misstep. Okay. So you want to make sure that right from the onset, the adjudicator picks your file, and even if he's annoyed, he looks at it, and then it's like an exam, taking an exam. They look at your script, and even the presentation alone makes the adjudicator smile, and then it gives him a good day. And so you can be sure that okay, things are going to be great for you. So we're going to be looking at the hottest form filing tips in this video. I believe I can share my screen with the Facebookers. Yeah, don't worry, Instagrammers, I'm here with you. I'll be telling you exactly what is on the screen, and then you'll also know what we're discussing. Okay, so the first form filing tip is, of course, you have to review the form filing instructions. Guys, I've seen a lot of, well, this comment says, I am a big fan of your haircut. So my hair is not cut. I have some, my hair is in two bands behind. No, so it's not cut at all. It's all there. It's all my natural hair. Okay. So of course, read the form filing instructions. The form instructions have the force of law. Okay, guys, that's one thing. And so make sure you are reading your form instructions. Read, what are the form fees. You need to make sure you are sending in the correct fees. Look at the eligibility requirements. There's an initial checklist for each eligibility, what you qualify for and what you do not qualify for. So make sure that you review that and make sure you qualify for what you're applying for. Then review the fee waiver eligibility to make sure that you actually are eligible before you ask them to waive any fees for you. And then look at what documents you are required to submit and the mailing addresses. Of course, mailing addresses depend on the type of form, number one, you are filing and why you're filing. And again, which type of carrier you're using, whether UPS, USPS, DHL, or FedEx. Okay, so the first filing tip is complete your form accurately. Okay, don't make a mistake with, very basic things like your name, your date of birth, where you were born. Those things are very, very crucial to a person's identity. And so if you start making mistakes with those, they cannot be sure whether it's, an innocent mistake or it's a deliberate attempt to actually try to throw eyes in the eyes of, whoever is reviewing your forms. And so that can be used very heavily against you. There are people that make mistakes and they're never able to recover from it. They are rendered inadmissible from, getting any type of U.S. immigration application. Okay, so guys, note that. Make sure you sign your forms. For example, if you are doing an adjustment of status application, you have, you can do a concurrent filing if the foreign national is right here in the US and the petitioner is a US citizen. You can do everything together. And there are various people that, either the petitioner or the beneficiary will sign one form or the other. Oh my gosh, Gilman Immigration, how are you, honey? Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so you need to make sure that you know who's signing what form. So for example, if it's an adjustment of status application and it's a concurrent filing, there's the I-130 that the petitioner will have to sign, the I-130A that the beneficiary will have to sign if he's here in the US. You have the I-485, the beneficiary signs that because he is adjusting his status. You have the I-765, the work authorization that the beneficiary again has to, sign. That the I-864, that's the petitioner who is the sponsor of the beneficiary will have to sign. And of course, if there's a joint sponsor, again, the joint sponsor will have to sign an extra I-864. If there's a household wage member, the I-864A has to be signed by the household wage member. If it's an household wage earner, if it's an I-131, of course, again, is the beneficiary's application, so he has to sign. So there's a bunch of all these things. You need to make sure the right people are signing what, for example, an I-751, which is a removal of conditions. Both the petitioner and the beneficiary, with the I-751, it's more of the beneficiary's application. So he signs, and then the person who petitioned for him will also sign. So all of those things, please be aware of it. The correct people need to sign on the correct forms. Make sure that the beneficiary is not signing on a wrong form, and that can cause a lot of problems. I actually had a potential client. They came to see me after the fact, and I believe it was a removal of condition. The wrong person signed, and they were put in the beneficiary, that's the foreigner, was put in deportation proceedings, and he's currently in a big mess. Trying to rectify everything. And it takes a lot of time, effort, and resources. So some of these mistakes are unpardonable, no matter how innocent they may be. Nobody knows that. Well, it's innocent, but there's no art to the mind's construction. Just we cannot tell that your mistake was innocent just by looking at your face, right? It all boils down to them denying it if there's an error, and they cannot tell what you are trying to do, whether you're trying to game the system or whatever. So be aware of all of that. Okay, the second thing is that make sure you're using the current version of the form. There's always an updated form. Make sure you're downloading from the right source. For example, if you work with an attorney such as myself, we have our softwares that always use the most updated versions of the forms, and so you can be sure that your application will not be rejected because you haven't used the most current version. Normally when you look below, you'll see the year, or even on the top right corner, you'll see when a form expires. Just to cross-check and double-check, make sure you are taking this form from the website of the USCIS and not from any other funny, websites. Okay. The next thing is that if you're handwriting, use black ink. Don't use blue ink. Make sure the entries are neat, they're legible, and within the spaces provided. Don't go writing on the edge like you are designing, all sorts of things. Just make sure it's very neatly done. If your handwriting isn't too good, make sure you type your answers just to make sure that everything looks fine. Again, don't use highlighters, don't use correction fluid or correction tape, because they use scanners. Once your application gets to the USCIS, they scan everything into their system, and when they scan, the highlighters will blacken out where you've or even the correction fluid will blacken out where you've corrected, and it's a mess. So be careful with that. Again, yes, if there's an error, just start all over again. You don't buy the forms at all, so you can use as many of the forms as you want, even 20, until you get the most perfect version for your application. It's worth it, guys. Okay, also here, if you are using multiple forms, don't forget to write your name, your date of birth, and your A number if you have it. Not everybody has an A number. For example, US citizens, US citizens do not have A numbers. Unfortunately, okay, we're reconnected. US citizens don't have A numbers, but if you have an A number, make sure all this information is on there in exactly the same way as it is on each form. And sometimes you'll have to add an additional sheet. Remember, sometimes you have to give them the history of your where you've worked for the last 5 years, or the number of spouses you have, or the number of children. And sometimes the spaces they've given are not enough, so you have to add additional sheets. Okay, so if you have to do additional sheets, make sure each sheet is signed, dated, has your name, your A number, date of birth, and the exact format. And then make sure you're paying the correct fees. I believe we've mentioned this, yes. And then send single-sided copies of the application. So if you are doing, let's say, an N400 application, don't print front and don't print back. It's always just single-sided, okay? So it's page 1 is on one sheet, page 2 is on the other sheet, page 3 is on the page 1 and 2 cannot be on one sheet. That's not acceptable. Again, of your supporting documents, also make sure that you're doing single-sided copies of these applications. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to assemble your application, petition, or request. Let me see how many minutes we've done and see if we have a bit more time. We've done 11 minutes. Well, let's talk about how to assemble the application, and then we'll talk about what you should not be doing in the next video, hopefully this week. So the first thing is that you need to assemble your package in a certain manner. So let's talk about that. This is the recommendation of the USCIS. Of course, you are free to do what you want, right? You are free. It's a very free world, but once you do it according to the way somebody wants, and they're the ones going to determine, whether you get a benefit or not, then you might as well do it the way that they want. So the first thing is your check or your money order, your form of payment. Remember that when you are paying for the forms, again, the correct fees. Let me mention this to you. You need to make sure you are using the file calculator, because this is something that trips so many people up. So, for example, if you're filing a VAWA application, the I-360 is free. And so you're just paying for the I-485 adjustment if you're doing a concurrent filing. And so it's 1225, right? If you're doing an adjustment of status application, the whole combo, and you're including the I-765, I-131, and all the rest, it's 1760. Okay, because you are paying for the I-130 as well, which is the 535. So you need to do all these calculations. For example, if you're doing the combo, the adjustment of status combo, you do not pay individually for the travel, the advanced parole document. However, if you're filing an advanced parole document by itself, then you pay. The advanced parole document is waived when you're doing the adjustment of status combo. Again, the work permit is the fee for the I-765 is waived when you're doing the combo, but if you're doing a renewal or whatever, then you need to make sure you're paying the right amount of money. So the first order is your check or your money order. Make sure you've calculated it properly. If you are using the credit card authorization form, which is the G1450, make sure that it's properly done. The correct credit card number is in there, and you've signed, or whatever that needs to be done on there, you've done it. The check normally it has to be addressed to the U.S. Department of State. Make sure it's written in full how it's supposed to be written, and there are no errors. There's no discrepancy between the figure and the words. All those things matter, okay? Then the second thing, so the first thing they want to see is, where is your money? Where is the paper, right? The green paper. Without the money, you're not getting your application, even reviewed. The money. That's what it's all about. So first page, your money. It comes first. Before they'll even take a look at whatever you have underneath, you have to make sure that you have the payment there. The second thing is you can do the request for e-notification. You can do that form. And with that form, what it just simply means is that once they receive your application, they can send you e-notifications through your email or through text message if you opt for that. The third thing is the Form G28. That's your attorney representation form. So if you're using an attorney, the attorney will put their form as the third document. And of course, attorneys understand how to arrange this. So, and then the fourth document is the form you're filing. So if it's the I-130, that comes next. If it's the N-400, that comes after the G-28, the attorney representation. Okay, so you have your money, you have your e-notification, then you have the notice of entry of appearance as attorney. That's the G-28 attorney representation. Then the N-400 if you're filing for citizenship, or your I-131 or whatever form you are filing. Then the next thing is the supporting documentation. Okay, so you, even with the supporting documentation, it has to be done in order. You have to submit the documents or evidence listed in the form instructions and try to go in order. Don't just, it shouldn't be a haphazard jumble. Make sure you are going in order and everything looks really nice and well thought out. Okay, and then of course supporting documentations, they must be in English. If it's not, you have to accompany it with a complete English translation. Not everybody can read Chinese, not everybody can read Swahili, not everybody can read Russia. So make sure you have those applications. If it's in English, then you don't need an English translation of the English document. If it's in English, that's fine. Then submit copies. Make sure you are submitting copies, not original documents. If you go submit your original document, it will get lost. Okay, unless you have been requested to submit an original document. If you submit an original document, what it says is that it will become part of the record and they will not return it to you automatically. You know, it becomes a big headache. So make sure your marriage certificate, your children's birth certificates, you're submitting copies. When you're going for the interview itself, then you can decide to take your, the originals as well as copies. So that the interviewer wants to see the originals, you'll have that there to show them, hey, here's the original. Okay. Alrighty. We're almost done, guys. Stick with us, almost the end, and then I'll read some comments and then I'll take some questions if you guys have them, and then we'll call it a day. Then the next thing is that if you have attachments, as I stated, make sure that you have each page has your name, your A number. And you may also number the pages and include the total number of pages being attached. Exactly. So if it's 1 of 10, 2 of 10, 3 of 10, 4 of 10, 5 of 10, 6 of 10, 7 of 10, 8 of 10, 9 of 10, and 10 of 10, so that they know that nothing is missing. Okay, because the thing is, sometimes in the processing rooms, things can get mixed up. Somebody picks a file and all the papers go on the floor, and then it mixes up with somebody else's documents. Okay, so then how do they know what is what? They pick up one sheet. You have your name, your A number, your date of birth. It's very easy to take it right back to where it belongs. And then the other thing is that you have to mark the envelope and the cover letter with the nature of the submission. Normally we do cover letters. Attorneys will do my office does cover letters to make sure that there are certain key things we include in the cover letter. So they pick it, and from the get-go they can see everything going on, the legal argument, documents and support, and all of that. All the strong points are emphasized and highlighted right there on the cover letter, because sometimes, of course, they don't have too much time to review a bunch of documents. So that helps them to know what is what and what is where. Okay. And yes, if it's an original submission, you mark the envelope and then the cover letter itself. If it's a brief for an appeal, mark it. If it's a request for response to request for further evidence, mark it. All of that. And then you mark the envelope and the cover letter with with the form number. So if it's an I-130, mark it. If it's an N-400, you mark it on the envelope, you mark it on the cover letter. Okay. So guys, that's it with the hottest form filing tips. Next video, I'm hoping that we can do what you should not be doing and what you should be doing in terms of physically preparing your forms for submission. Guys, as I tell you, you don't have to do all this. You don't have to know all this. This is why we're here. We're here to assist you, make sure that you present the strongest version of your case for the application. So make sure that you call if you need our help, and we will be happy to assist you. So that's our website right there. Let me put our number here. Okay. Somebody says, Amuzu593 says, lawyer, do you have to add your bank statements if your spouse is filing your green card? The question is not clear. So if your spouse is filing a green card for you, you, the beneficiary, you normally do not have to add your green card, your bank statement. But your bank statements can be a bona fide of the marriage. Okay. So your bank statement showing that both you and your wife share one bank account, it's a great bona fide. So that can be done. But in terms of an adjustment of status where you're filing and the green card and the US citizen or green card holder is here, and the foreign national is also here in the US, and you're doing a concurrent or a one step, you need to file something known as the I-864 affidavit of support, and that with that it's your US citizen or green card holders tax returns that we're going to be using. But normally for bank statements, it's helpful in proving bona fides. Okay. So I'm not sure if that answers the question. Okay, guys, let me read a few comments on Facebook. Oh, my Facebook is Francis says hello, yeah. I'm so happy you were able to join us today. I hope everything is well at your end. Patrick O. Ado says hello, good job. Well, thank you so much. Patrick is on Facebook here with us. Thank you, Patrick, for joining as always. Angela Aboagye says hello, my lawyer, Papi B. Thank you so much, Angela. You make my head swell. You're too kind. I really appreciate you guys watching and joining. I hope you guys have learned something from the hottest form filing tips. Let me wave. We have Porsche's Beauty Room, Ozim, we have Edmond Ghana, Blanks and Nancy on Instagram, then Kofi K, we have Denzel Poku, we have Sethi, Na Diamond. Okay. All right, guys, I couldn't mention everybody, but I really appreciate you guys joining. If you have questions or concerns, call my office, 802-7800-564. We represent immigrants in living the American dreams all around the U.S., all 50 states and around the world. Doesn't matter the type of immigration concern that you have, we are able to help you, okay? So call us and book a consult, and I will have time for you. One-on-one strategy, we review your documents, and then I tell you the best legal options. I diagnose your case legally for you, and then I give you insights, lawyers' insights on what to do, what not to do, how to proceed, next steps, strategy, just how to simply handle your case for the best results for you. All right, guys. So this was a quick one. As I said, I will see you guys during the week. Hopefully, I'll come your way again and we will talk. I'll be doing another live US immigration show. I received a bunch of questions and topics. So if you have more, if you want me to cover any type of topic, you can DM us. You can comment on this video, and I'll be sure to do that. Okay, guys. Please be safe out there. Spread love. Take care. If you're an immigrant here in the US, watch your back. Be careful. Just take care in everything you do. It's really, really rough out here. It is. So be careful. Okay, guys. I will see you soon. Goodbye. Bye-bye.